My name's Mariah. Welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to try and hop on a little trend that I've been seeing literally every booktuber do recently. So I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag that every booktuber and their mother has been doing recently. So they look pretty fun and I've been watching them all. So I've decided I'm going to put my own in here. Why not? Let's do it. So I definitely have not read the amount of books most of these girlies have read. I wish. But I'm pretty proud of myself. Definitely the most I've read in my entire life. I've read 48 books this year, not this month. And I originally set my Goodreads goal to, I think, 30 books. Crushed that in the first 3 months. Now, I'm like barely reading a book a month. But I blame summer for that. I bumped my reading goal up to 70 and now I'm like, am I actually gonna make that? I feel like I might not. But anyways, so yeah, mid-year freakout tag. I'm gonna be sharing some of my favorite books, some of the disappointing books that I've read, and everything in between. So let's get started, shall we? Oh, also, if you hear anything weird, I'm sorry. I'm clearly filming in my room today because it is the only room that is not hot as Satan's ballsack. Seattle is having a really fun heat wave, and we don't have air conditioning in our apartments. So the only air we have is in my bedroom, and it's the only room that, yeah, it's not hot as shit. So here we are. And there's people that are already like firing off fireworks outside in the middle of the day. It's 1 p.m. So if you hear that, I'm sorry. But anyways, now we'll get started. For this one, I chose False Witness by Karen Slaughter. Oh, this book was so good. I've never read a Karen Slaughter book. This is the first one I've read. And I was very, very surprised. Loved it so much. If you don't like real world, like real shit that would happen, you probably wouldn't like this. It's pretty heavy, but yeah, it definitely has been. I've been thinking about this book since I've read it. It's so good. It's about a lawyer who handles sexual abuse cases, and she gets this one case across her desk for a man that she actually knows, who she has a past with somebody in his family, and it involves her sister, and it's a lot. I will warn you, it's a lot, but it's so good, and I think it's so worth it. So, False Witness by Karen Slaughter, definitely my most favorite book this year. And this one, I think the only sequel I have read is this whole series, which is my answer. All of the Veronica Speedwell series. I heard about this series the first time this year. Like, so many people that I watch have talked about it. So I started reading it, and I flew through the entire series. And they're all 4.5 or 5 stars. Every single one of them. They're so good. So we follow Veronica and Stoker, who, honestly, I think at this point we're all just here for them, and that's okay with me. But also the mystery in the books is very good. Like, I'm also here for the mysteries, but the Veronica and Stokerness of it all, that's what I'm really here for. But yeah, so Veronica and Stoker, they get wrapped up in some kind of mystery. Every single book, we follow them trying to figure it out, and their little romance along the way that is very cute, and I love it. So, all of the Veronica Speedwell series. And if you haven't read it, read it. I know historical fiction, definitely not for everybody. Definitely not for me, okay? I hate history. Is that a weird thing to say? I always have. History, like the worst subject in school. But this series, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Listen to the audiobooks. Read it physically. I don't care how you read it, but read this series. Okay? I don't have an answer for this. I have not reread a book this year. I do plan on reading one that I will talk about in just a minute. But yeah, have not reread a book this year, so has to be thriller and horror, my main ones. But surprisingly, the last 2 months, sci-fi. I've read I think 5 or 6 sci-fi books in the past 2 months, and every single one, 4 or 5 stars. They've been so good. So that too, but mostly horror and thriller because it's like my comfort zone. I need to feel like the most fucked up shit in order to be happy. Is that like sadistic or like masochistic of me? Because I don't know. I just can't, most of the time I can't do happy. I love like False Witness Karen Slaughter. I know it's fucked up. I like to feel. And being angry and reading about shit like that and like real world stuff makes me feel things. So yeah, maybe that is sadistic of me and I hate myself, but here we are. I have 2 answers for this. That is either Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. And this one I really don't know anything about, but the cover, that cover is gorgeous. I love her. And the other one is Summer Darlings by Maid, and that is only because I read, that's only because I read The Hunting Wives last year. And it sounds like it's another like rich friend group, summer vibes. And that's why I love The Hunting Wives. So I'm hoping that the Summer Darlings will be as good as that. Yeah, I also don't really know what that one's about. So I think this one is It Girl. Is that what? Yeah, It Girl by Ruth Ware. And I want to say this one comes out soon, like July 12th, I think. Anyways, this one sounds so good, okay? Okay. It's about a group of friends who are in college, and their friend April, which, really weird, April is my first name, so don't love that. But anyways, these group of friends, they meet in college at Oxford, and, they go out, they're having a good time, they get really close, but at the end of the second semester, April gets murdered. And a man ends up getting convicted, and unfortunately, friends have to move on with their lives, and things seem like they were resolved, right? Somebody was convicted, he's in jail serving time. Well, this man dies that was convicted and is in prison, and the one of their friends gets evidence that shows this man may have been innocent the entire time. So Hannah, the friend, is like, I'm going to find out like what actually happened. Was this man actually innocent? And in the process, maybe finds out her friends have a lot of skeletons in their closet that they're hiding, and a lot of old things start to come up. So it sounds really up my alley, and I love Ruth Ware's books. I read, was it Turn of the Key, Lock of the Key, something of the Key, and One by One. I really enjoyed One by One. And I also have, I think The Woman in Cabin 10 is on my bookshelf as well. So I really enjoy Ruth Ware's books. So I'm looking forward to this one. Hi. It's not a surprise. I hated this book. And it was such a letdown because this was one of my most anticipated books of the year. Like, I was so looking forward to getting this book. I wanted the cozy mystery. The cover, I wanted it on my bookshelf. I wanted this book. I wanted to love this book. I hated this book, and it's The Maid by Nita Prose. Trash, garbage, hot pile of garbage. Okay? Let me just tell you, disgusting, gross. All of the adjectives that describe a horrible, horrible book, that's what I'd give this. Talk about perpetuating a horrible stereotype of autistic people being just stupid and unaware of everything around them. No matter, even though that she made this girl love true crime, she was still stupid. If you can't tell, I get heated about talking about this book. I wanted to throw this book in the middle of oncoming traffic. This book doesn't deserve the paper that it's printed on. Okay? I'm sorry if you loved this book. I know a lot of people did. It got high praise, and I still don't understand it. But I know a lot of people do feel the same way, that it was just disgusting to autistic people. So it was a 0 star for me. That's all I'll say about The Maid. So for this one, Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I know everybody that reads this book that I know of raves about it. But for whatever reason, every time I heard this title, it just gave me like, I just saw like campy horror, like the horrible, awful, like, you know, campy horror, bad horror movies. I don't know why. It just, the title, Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampire, it just sounds dumb. But the contents of that book, this is a book that I will be rereading. I want this book on my shelf. I listened to the audiobook and it was amazing. Oh, I was so angry the whole time. The gaslighting of her friends and her husband. Oh, this book made me angry. But in the best way possible, because you're definitely supposed to feel angry. But it's so good. So we're following this small little town of women that are in this book club, and they read boring books, like boring books. And one day, one of the women is like, why don't we read true crime? Like something with a little more pizzazz, you know? So they start reading true crime, and they all love it. Well, this weird man moves into their neighborhood, and all of them fall in love with him. Like their husbands love him, they love him. But Patricia, good old Patricia, she's like, oh no, this man is weird as shit. What do y'all see in him? And she's right. She's right. But the gaslighting, oh, the gaslighting from these people. And poor Patricia. I hated her husband so much. But yeah, this book was great. And I loved it. Biggest surprise. I really didn't think that I was going to like it. So I'm glad that I picked it up on Libby. And I will be looking for a copy for my bookshelf. And to reread, because we're going to do that. I think I have 2. Definitely Karen Slaughter. After I read False Witness, I'm very excited to read more of her. Why is my voice going out? I'm very excited to read more Karen Slaughter. I know there's a really popular book. Is it Pieces of Her? Something like that. And she also has a new book coming out, if it's not already out. It's called Girl Forgotten. It sounds really good. So, excited to read more of her. But also Andnaya Alborn. I read The Shuddering earlier this year. It was one of the first books I read. That book thoroughly creeped me out. But it was so good. I was terrified while reading it at night. And then I proceeded to download like every single one of her books on Kindle because I don't know if they're always free on Kindle, but they are right now. So I downloaded The Bird and If You See Her. And I thought I downloaded one more, but I guess not. But yeah, so I definitely want to be reading more Anaya Alborn this year because The Shuddering was great. It gave me everything I wanted. If you want a really good horror book that's going to, like, you're going to need to sleep with lights on, because I did, read The Shuddering. So, if you listen to the Sleeping Giants audiobooks, you know who I'm about to say already. And that's the interviewer in all of those. He is, by far, my favorite part of those audiobooks. He is so savage to them, and he gives them nothing. Absolutely nothing up until the end. Like, this man, they don't know his name. They don't know who he works for, what he really does, what his title is. They don't know anything. But this man knows everything about them. And he's just great. He's great. I don't know if I'm sure it doesn't translate the same in physical form, but if you listen to the audiobooks of The Sleeping Giants, the interviewer is the best by far. This is probably also not a shock if you've seen any of my videos. The Black Flamingo, heartbreaking. Oh my God, that book made me sob. It was so good. It was, oh, that book is great. Everybody needs to read this book. If you haven't, read it now. It's written in like poetry, but it's not hard to understand, and it's not, I don't know how to explain. If you don't like poetry like me, you know, it's usually written in a way that it's not straightforward like a book. And I know it's not supposed to be. You're supposed to think deeply about it, but I'm not a deep thinker. But this one is written like a book, but it's written in poetry. I don't know how to explain it. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's about Michael, who is a gay black man, who we follow his life into a young adulthood and all the shit that he had to deal with being a gay black man. Oh, like I said, very sad, heartbreaking, but such a good book. So yeah, that is 1,000% a book that made me cry this year. And that is The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. Oh, this book. The vibes, the feels. Oh my God, I loved it. This book started my obsession with witch books. I need to read every book that's about a witch now. It's set in Savannah, Georgia, which, if you know me, that is my all-time favorite place in the world. I love Savannah. It is such a cute town. If I ever moved back to Georgia, which is never gonna happen, but if I ever moved back to Georgia, Savannah is where I'd move. But anyways, we follow two girls. One is already in this sorority called the Ravens, who is like very prestigious, doesn't let anybody in. You have to be a witch to be in it. And this other girl, who is not yet in the sorority, doesn't even really know that she's a witch. And just them in college and fumbling and like figuring out who they are. I don't know, just the witchy vibes in the Savannah. And this book made me so happy. I did not have it as a physical copy when I read it the first time, and I sought it out and bought it for my bookshelf. This is another book that I will be rereading just for the vibes. Straight vibes. Loved it. Awesome. Read it. If you just want a good, fun, easy book. Also witchy vibes. Again. Also the cover. I love this cover. Okay. Anyways. That's enough. I literally just gave this book away. So I have a cousin who also reads a lot. And so as soon as I'm done with a book, most of the time I put it away so I can give it to her or give it to my mom to give to her. So yeah, I give away most of my books. The only ones I really hold on to, like False Witness and The Ravens, are ones that I loved so much that I just needed on my shelf. And honestly, I wish I wouldn't have given this book away because I would have really liked to reread this one too. But c'est la vie. What is done is done. And that is Notes on an Execution. This book, well, first of all, the cover is physically gorgeous. I loved this cover. But the contents inside also, it is such a beautifully written story about this man on death row. And when I first picked this book up, I fully thought it was going to be a thriller book. It's not. It's more of this man's life, what he did that led him to death row, his feelings of being on death row, being stabbed in the back while being on death row, and like up into the second of them injecting him in his veins. Like, I don't know. It was such a good book to read. It was such beautifully written. I don't know. It was just a great book. I really love this. I really recommend everybody read this as well. The only reason I picked it up was because I'm a part of Katie Colson's Patreon, and she has a smut salon. My voice is just shitting out on me right now. Anyways, Katie Colson has the Smut Salon book club where every month we read a book with her, and she does a live show. And so the other month, I think it was last month, was Notes on an Execution. But yeah, oh, I'm so glad that was picked. I had never heard of that. I'm so glad that won. I have it right here beside me. I don't know when I'm going to read this Project Hail Mary. It doesn't have the dust cover on because I'm determined that I'm going to read it. I have it right beside my book, my bed. I don't know why I haven't read it. I think because everybody hypes it up so much that I'm like scared that I'm going to hate it. So I'm scared to read it. Also because my boyfriend really loved it, and he's like, if you don't like this book, I don't know. And I'm like, that's a lot of pressure. And now I feel a lot of pressure to read this book. So I'm just like, no, maybe I won't read it. But I still really want to read it because it sounds really good. All I know is it's about Ryland, who is on a space mission to save the world. But he wakes up on his spacecraft and realizes, oh shit, my entire crew that's with me is dead. And I don't have my memory. I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm in this ship. And I don't know what my mission is. So, yeah, it all sounds very good. So tell me why I haven't picked it up yet. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I promise. I'm not going to promise. I'm going to read it by the end of the year. But I'm also not going to make promises. Okay. Probably my tarot videos that I've been doing. I found the idea from Amy Noel Reads, and I really enjoyed it. And I had been wanting to do something with my tarot cards related to like a TBR for a while. And yeah, so I really have been enjoying those. Yeah, that's my answer. I feel like I have a lot. YouTube is like my main form of entertainment besides reading. So if I'm not reading, I am definitely watching YouTube. I really do not watch Netflix, Hulu, any of that. So I have a lot of booktubers that I read, but I definitely have my main ones. So my main ones that I watch, my favorite people. Oh my God. At the end of the video now, I'm just like, oh, burps. Okay. So, Katie Colson, obviously, I'm a member of her Patreon. Love her vibes, her attitude. Great. Books and Lala, she's like probably the OG booktuber. Everybody knows Kayla. Everybody loves Kayla. If you don't love Kayla, what are you doing with your life? I don't know. She's the first one that I found that did horror and not horror, thriller books. So really love her. Gabby Reads, another OG thriller horror reader. Found her, loved her. Her reading vlogs are like so calming and fun. And another, Olivia Reads a Latte, very calming. Zen, I love her videos. And Jordaline, Booked and Busy, Erin. I feel like I'm reading Riley. Yeah, I watch a lot of people. And so, yeah, but those are all of my favorites. Yeah, so yeah, that is all I think for this video. If you watch this, thank you so much. Please consider subscribing and liking this video, sticking around on my channel. I'd be very, very, very excited. We have very exciting things coming up. I'm very excited. We have me and my boyfriend, we have a big project that I'm super excited about. We're going to start uploading. This is going to be really a video diary for myself and, well, for us to watch of the boat and like projects. But anyways, that will be explained later because we're going to be going to the boat this weekend and maybe filming. And oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Anyways, so yeah, if you like camping, boat things, book things, consider sticking with me. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day or night or whatever time it is when you're watching this. Bye.